Hi everyone, Jordan Early from Tribal Habits here. We're here for our 7 questions in 7 minutes segment again. But this time we're going to do a little different. We're going to do a role reversal, and Dave is going to prompt the questions and I'm going to be answering the questions. Dave, over to you.
Excellent. I get my chance to sit back and relax while you're under the pressure. So I'll ask the questions. Today, we're going to focus on building a business case for your learning platform, for your online learning platform. So we're seeing a lot of organizations at the moment which are under immense pressure to rebuild or refocus how they provide training and learning. And maybe that's because they were a training provider who can no longer run their workshops or their traditional way of delivering their commercialized training. Or maybe it's an organization which can't get the people out into the field to do training. Either way, they've got to present a business case internally to move and manage their training to an online learning platform. Now, on this page, you'll find a link to an article Jordan's written, which is a template business case you can download. And today with Jordan, I'm going to go through 7 questions for Jordan about the stages and the parts of that template and just try to highlight a couple of the insider tips and trips to make your business case easier to generate. So Jordan, the pressure's on you now for the 7 minutes, finally.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Excellent. Let's begin. The first step you've got in the business case is defining the problem. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so I think this is probably the biggest part of the business case. It's the bit that you need to get right. And I think what you want to do here is try and narrow down on a business problem as much as you can. You want to get really tight around it. And if you can justify the problem that you're trying to solve by putting it against some business context, so if you have a certain goal in your business, it might be to reduce churn, for example. Try and pin your problem against that. And in doing that, you can outline some desired outcomes. So you might say, look, if we can get this solution done, or if we can solve this problem, I think we can reduce churn by 20% or something like that. Also, when you're defining the problem, I think it's a good time to look at who's going to benefit if you do solve this problem. And you want to look at that as broadly as possible. So it's not just the immediate people who might be doing the training. You want to look at your entire staff, the people who manage these people, your end customer. It's really the more people you can give this information to and the more people that the business case is going to touch, the more likely you are to get buy-in for it.
Yeah, so I guess we're building the value proposition by attaching it to other strategic goals in the organization that we know are deemed valuable already and getting the widest possible touch point of users of value.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so I'd say like a narrow description of the problem, but a wide view of who it might affect.
Got it. Next step then is to explore potential solutions. So what are we trying to cover in this section?
So what you're really trying to get across here is that you've done your homework. So what the management team will be trying to do with your business case is carry out their due diligence. And if you have a good business case, you're making that easy for them.
Yep.
So when it comes to exploring solutions, you want to look as broadly as you possibly can. Look at solutions that you might consider outside of the box. You don't want to come with comparing 4 really similar tech solutions. It could be that you've got a few different types of tech solutions which approach the problem in a different way. Maybe there's some internal structural changes you can make in the business that might solve the problem as well. But you're looking to give your management a broad picture of what is available here and what they could potentially do.
So step 3 then is to recommend a preferred solution. So how does this differ from the previous section on outlining the potential solutions, and how long should this recommendation part be?
So I don't think this is a long part of the business case, but this is, to me, where it starts to get a little bit more personal. And it's like, I have spent this much time researching this, and based on my understanding of our business problem and what we're trying to achieve as a business, I think that this solution is going to help us achieve what we're trying to achieve. And you probably at this point want to touch briefly on why. We'll get into pricing and implementation later, but you may bring them up at this point. But also anything else that stands out, like the ease of use of the solution, really anything that stood out to you. And again, it's really important here to keep linking back to the business case and to the business problem that you're trying to solve.
Cool. You mentioned it already. The next step then is going to be to summarize the pricing or explain the pricing of the preferred solution.
Yeah.
What's kind of the key tip in here to get this section right?
So I think whether we like it or not, pricing is a massive part of any business case. And it's a big hurdle. There's going to be questions asked about this. So the more transparent and the more information you can provide, the better. I think it's really easy with software as a service solutions to give subscription rate pricing. It's like, this is X dollars a month, and you start comparing based on that. But a good business case addresses the total cost of ownership. So that might be implementation costs, whether you need to hire new staff, what training is involved, how do you actually get this thing in the organization? And if you can provide that transparency now, it just makes it so much easier later in the process. There's no nasty shocks, I guess.
Yeah, I guess you've started that expectations management.
Yeah,
and managing buyer's remorse or something like that before it occurs.
Yeah, and again, I sound a little bit like a broken record here, but if you can pin this back to your original problem, so say if we're trying to reduce churn, if we can put a value on reducing churn, like say churn costs us $100,000 a year, we can reduce that by 20%. There's a cost saving there. And if you can talk about the pricing of the solution and the cost saving at the same time, it helps give some context to that.
Yep. Finds your budget for you, I guess.
Exactly.
In step 5, then you're going to move on to talking about implementation. Sometimes the implementation of a platform is quite extensive. Sometimes it's not. How much detail do you need to get into here when talking about implementation?
I think you kind of answered it there. Some solutions are more of a plug and play type implementation, and Tribal Habits, fortunately, is on that end of the solution.
Yep.
But bigger enterprise things, there's integrations to worry about, there's IT, how it all joins up. And then there can be change management challenges as well, where it could require a lot of training, or you may be engaging external third parties to do training. So again, it's that transparency and looking at it kind of holistically and as a total package. So, you know, what are the costs? What are the implementation hurdles that might come up? I think ideally what you want to get to here is a timeline of major events. So we're going to have this much done at this point, and we may need to hire a new person at this point.
Yep.
These are the potential disruptions or risks that I see in the implementation process. So the clearer you are there, the less questions you're going to have to answer when it comes to discussing the business case.
Gotcha. I really like step 6, which is the final step you've got in the proposal, which is providing your impression of the preferred solution. Talk to me really briefly about what's that about, and why is this necessary in the business case?
So I think, again, this is about making it personal. So it's like, I've done the trial, like I've used this platform, I understand what it does. And I would say at this point, if you haven't done that, stop and go back and do the trial. But it gives a personal kind of angle on, look, I had a really positive time with their support, or the setup was a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. I could do this with very little training or no training. Or conversely, like, this is quite complex. It might be a really good solution, but there's a bit of work here for us to get this in place. So
yep.
I think you're giving it a personal touch helps people kind of reflect and react to what you're saying.
Okay, cool. In 30 seconds or less, give me a final kind of insider tip from all the business cases you've written to help someone get it across the line internally.
Yeah, I think I've kind of said it a few times already, but it's like, how do we get that really precise problem, and what bigger business challenge is it that you're addressing? So normally an organization will set out at the start of the year, these are the high level things that we're trying to achieve. If you can hook your business case into that and keep using that, like every one of these sections, run it through that lens, it gives it a lot of relevance and context to the organization. So that would be my big tip.
Perfect. I really like that. I feel like with training and learning, we're often dealing with the intangibles, and being able to tie it to something that's very tangible and relevant to the organization. I think that's a really good lesson here, not just for business proposals, but just for training overall. So the more we can tie back our intangible product back to tangible things, even better. Jordan, you've done a pretty good job on the time today. I'm kind of impressed. So well done. If you've been listening to our chat today and you think you'd like to get some help on tooling up your business cases for online learning, check out the links we've got on this page to read the article that Jordan's written and download the example case study he has, which has all of those steps with a fully functional example that you can have a read through as well. Obviously written in the context of Tribal Habits, which is very easy to implement and very low cost and very low risk for you. Jordan, I'm going to wrap us up there. Thanks very much for being our subject today.
Excellent. Thanks, Dave. It's fun to be on the other side of this.
Excellent. And for everyone watching, we'll see you next time. Thanks very much.
See you guys.